need to make this happen. So we signed a 50-year memo of understanding with the Vietnam Veterans Foundation to say make it happen. And it's going to be right at the top of the hill here. There's about a 2.5-acre flat spot. And so they went on a fundraising campaign, thought it was going to be about $3.5 million, and then COVID hits and delay things, and costs go up, and they raise some more. Then you try to get granted from the quarry. Instead of being 2 months, it's 18 months, and costs go up again. They woke up and they thought they'd raised all the money, which is now about $5 million. And then they got another delay in there, and costs go up another $2.5 million. And it's like, we got to get this done, because every year it's not done, more Vietnam vets die. And I want to thank the governor, because the state of Nebraska stepped in and funded that $2.5 million gap. And we just got word last week that we received that grant. And so construction will start probably in the next 10 days on the Nebraska-Vietnam Veterans. If you're a Vietnam vet, the table up there, the two gentlemen are the ones that made it happen. A neat story in there is the centerpiece is a Huey helicopter. And you think of the Huey helicopter, iconic Vietnam, green, the Red Cross. And the thing is, where do you get a Huey helicopter? Come to find out, some guy had one in his barn in Vermont, and he donated it to us, and we got it brought back. And then Iowa Western, our local community college, has an aviation program, and they said they'll restore it. And so they started on the restoration of it. And in the middle of it, a story was written about it, and it went into the National Vietnam Veterans magazine, the monthly magazine. And a guy in California was reading the article and recognized the tail number of the helicopter. And he was the original crew chief when that helicopter was picked up brand new. And then he had kept a daily log, and he's going to give that to us, and so we can digitize that and make it part of the event. But then his request was, after it's restored, can I just come up and sit in it one time? Because as far as he knew, it was pushed off the side of a ship after Saigon 3 years ago. So he said, yep, come on up. So as the restoration is being done, what we didn't know is he made contact with all the original crew members, and they ended up coming up here. They hadn't seen each other in 53 years. They came up and had a reunion as part of the unveiling, and they're going to come back for the groundbreaking. So cool stories. So if things can happen, and if we end up with a mild winter, March 29th, we should have the groundbreaking for the Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Put it on your calendar. Winter will be a big part to determine that, but really that thing, the state stepped in and gave the $2.5 million. This is probably the first public announcement of that, so it's really being announced to this group that that's coming to be. And thanks George and Tom at the top. The other one, if you're a Purple Heart veteran, if you're a Purple Heart, the city of Papillion has a Veterans Park in our downtown area. If you haven't been there, I encourage you to go down there. It's a Blue Star Memorial, it's a Gold Star Memorial. We honor some specific people who have been killed in action, Congressional Medal of Honor. But we just got put plans together for a Purple Heart Memorial. And we're hoping, if things come together, that we should have that in place on November 11th. So again, if you're local, put November 11th on your calendar. Maybe we'll have the Purple Heart Memorial. I share those stories a little bit because I think it ties to this group. Both of those events, you think about a flag going across 50 states and you think it's a big deal, but you think, where did that start? Where did the Vietnam Memorial start? Where did the Blue Star Memorial start? It's usually one person with an idea. In our case of our Veterans Park downtown, it was some ladies in a garden club wanted to plant some flowers. And another group came and said, let's put an American flag in the flower bed. That literally was the start of now what is almost a $4 million investment, Blue Star Memorial, Purple Heart, and all of that. So just an idea of a couple of people with a passion that maybe get discouraged when there's a small group. And then the Vietnam Memorial, again, was one guy reading a book and saw Nebraska was missing. He mentioned it in his monthly chapter, and they started on a 5-year journey of raising $7.5 million and getting a Huey helicopter. Started with an idea. I think of this one. Who gets the idea of taking a flag along all 50 states? I think it was probably a couple guys in a bar, had a little too much to drink, said, wouldn't it be cool if? And then the next morning, one sobers up and says, I'm going to do it. So again, those kind of ideas are why we have the big things we have. So really, I just want to say thank you to all the vets here. Make a couple of public announcements, but just encourage you, if you're part of this, sometimes you maybe go to a place where there's a couple of people, a little small fundraisers. These are the things that pick up momentum and make a real difference and show appreciation that we've got for our veterans. So thank you very much.